Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Kingsburg City Council regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, and we're going to start with the invocation given by Pastor John Dostal of Concordian Lutheran Church, followed by the flag salute.
Thank you.
Please.
Before I begin the prayer, I just want to say I've been the pastor here for 4 years, and Lenna Shalene was instrumental in my coming here, and I'm grateful to him, and I'm grateful that I get to serve in the city. So let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, in your word, you would have given us a vision of that holy city to which the nations of the world bring their glory. Behold and visit our city of Kingsburg. Renew the ties of mutual regard which form our civic life. Enable us to love our neighbors and their needs. We ask that you distribute your peace and that it may prevail among us. Thank you for the honest and able leaders of this chamber. Guide them as they attend to the business of the city of Kingsburg. Grant them wisdom, insight, and compassion as a reflection of your servant leadership. We ask this all through Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will call this meeting to order and get a roll call.
Present.
Here.
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 Here. And our first item is to approve the agenda.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is presentations and informal reports, and we're going to be doing a police department swearing in and badge pinning tonight.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This evening, we proudly recognize and officially welcome our newest members to the Kingsburg Police Department. Anthony Bustillos, can you come forward, please? This evening, we proudly recognize Anthony Bustillos. Officer Bustillos was born and raised in Selma, California by his mother, Graciela Cavazos. He graduated from Selma High School and attended Fresno State for several semesters. Anthony is a United States Army veteran who served from 2008 to 2013, including deployment into Afghanistan. His military occupational specialty was 25 Bravo, a communications specialist responsible for maintaining critical communication systems. During his service, he earned the Global War on Terrorism Medal. Following his military service, Anthony continued serving others by working at the Fresno Veterans Hospital from 2017 to 2020 as a suicide prevention outreach specialist, supporting fellow veterans during critical times. He also previously served with the Reedley Police Department and Veterans Affairs Police Department. He was hired by the city of Kingsburg in March of 2025 and currently serves as a patrol officer. Outside of work, Anthony enjoys spending time with his daughters, Sienna and Anaya, playing sports, working on home improvement projects, and golfing with his uncle Art. Joining him this evening are his mother, Graciela Cavazos, his uncle Arthur Rios, his sister, Denise Orozco, and his daughter, Sienna, who will be pinning his badge. We are proud to have Officer Bustillos serving the Kingsburg community. Please join us in congratulating him. Officer Edgar Maldonado, please come forward. This evening, we proudly recognize and officially welcome Edgar Maldonado to the Kingsburg Police Department. Officer Maldonado was hired in mid-October 2025 and currently serves as a patrol officer. Although he has prior law enforcement experience, this appointment marks a meaningful milestone, returning home to serve the community that helped shape his life. Born in King City, Officer Maldonado spent much of his childhood moving throughout the Central Valley, living in Greenfield, Soledad, Salinas, Selma, and eventually Kingsburg. If there's one place he considers home, it is Kingsburg. After graduating from Kingsburg High School, Officer Maldonado attended Fresno City College, where he earned his associate's degree in criminal justice. He later continued his education at California State University, Fresno, completing additional coursework in criminal justice. In the fall of 2022, he completed an EMT course through Fresno City College, gaining valuable experience in emergency medical response, teamwork under pressure, and serving others during critical moments. In the fall of 2023, Officer Maldonado entered the police academy at Fresno City College, solidifying his commitment to public service. In April 2024, he was hired by the Atwater Police Department, where he proudly served for approximately 18 months. He lateraled to the Kingsburg Police Department to return home and serve the community he considers his own. Officer Maldonado is the oldest of 5 brothers and a proud father to his daughter, Elisa, who will be pinning his badge this evening. The Maldonado family joins us in celebrating this special occasion. Outside of work, Officer Maldonado enjoys spending time with his family and daughter, exercising and playing video games. As a Kingsburg native, Officer Maldonado represents the very best community policing, serving not just as an officer, but as a neighbor, friend, and role model. We are proud to welcome him to the Kingsburg Police Department and look forward to his continued service in our community. Please join us in congratulating Officer Edgar Maldonado as he takes his oath of office serving. Police Service Technician Marsha Alves, please come forward. This evening, we proudly welcome Police Service Technician Marsha Alves to the Kingsburg Police Department. Marsha has dedicated her career to serving others. She worked for 26 years in Selma as a registered dental assistant for Dr. Bert and David Engstrom, where she built strong relationships through her compassion and professionalism. In 2018, she joined Kingsburg City Hall as an account clerk and was promoted to accounts payable in 2021. In that role, she helped ensure the city's financial operations ran smoothly in support of the Kingsburg community. In November 2025, Marsha joined the Kingsburg Police Department as a police service technician, continuing her commitment to public service while supporting the work of the department. Marsha is joined this evening by her husband, John, her daughter, Madison, and her son, Brady, who proudly support her. In her spare time, Marsha enjoys traveling and spending time with her family. She is proud to serve the community she calls home. Please join us in welcoming Marsha Alves. Will Officer Bustillo's family please come forward? That's not pictures. And take pictures? Yeah, please. Officer Maldonado, please come up. And I'd like to invite the Maldonado family forward to pin the badge.
One, two, three. I'll take a few.
And Marcia, will you please come forward and have your family come up, take pictures?
Ready? One, two, three. And with the council.
Council?
You guys have to go with the council. Raise them there, big guy. Yeah, of course.
Wow, I would definitely put Anthony in the back.
Yeah. We're trying to get in the front. Are you guys ready? One, two, three.
You guys. On behalf of the Kingsburg Police Department, thank you for all being here. This evening and supporting our newest members and their families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Sorry. Oh,
You're gonna see it.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is public comment. This provides an opportunity for members of the public to address the city council on items of interest to the public within the council's jurisdiction and are not already on the agenda for the evening. It is the policy of the council not to answer questions impromptu. Speakers should limit their comments to not more than 3 minutes. For items which are on the agenda this evening, members of the public will have an opportunity to address the council as each item is brought up for discussion. Is there anyone here tonight for public comment? Come on up, state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Soto. Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff, and Kingsburg residents. Last week, or I should say the last council meeting, I was watching this on Facebook, and at a moment I had lost my cool while I was cooking. I almost put dinner down, what I was doing, and I rushed over here just to speak my piece on the matter of the topic. But cooler heads prevailed, and I'm here to discuss about city growth. I know that a lot of what was said that night and a lot of decisions were scare tactics against you guys. Nothing wrong with that. People want to speak their mind, which is fine. But the issue that I had with what they were saying was, this is a small town community. This is a small town feel. Now, majority of you on the council know me from one way or another, from my childhood growing up with your kids, or just running against you guys, city council, almost a decade ago. The idea that Kingsburg is a small community because we keep it small is wrong. The reason why Kingsburg has that small community feel is because we know each other and we grow up in the city together. We share history together. That's what makes Kingsburg such an important place. You know, before you guys were here, I remember Leland Bergstrom, city council and mayor of this town, and all the things that he said. And I knew the stories he told about when he grew up here, how small it was and how things grew because families knew each other. The sad thing is when we start choking the city on growth, we're choking out that small town feel. And at the same time, we're going through and we're just creating an elite society within Kingsburg because no one could really afford the houses in this town. 2008, when the housing crisis broke and houses were cheaper, they were still expensive here in Kingsburg because we didn't allow for any growth in this town. Granted, I'm not saying go and build a mega, complex development, but when I was on planning commission, I enjoyed the fact knowing that we were building small, discrete little apartment complexes within the city. We approved them. There's some that you probably wouldn't even notice unless you drove up to it today. So that's why I'm here to implore you to think about some of the things that people say about city growth. You don't have to go outrageous, but you do have to think about, will our grandchildren be able to afford this place? Or will this town be a different place come 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Will there be people that will survive this town who will remember what it used to be like? This is an important factor of this town. We say Vogelman, we say welcome. There was a small family who wanted to move into this town. That was the small town feel, the small family. We take care of each other. Taking care of each other is taking care of each other's children and allowing them the ability to buy a house here, allowing them to start their generation. So take that, what you will, the next time this comes up, because it comes up, what, twice a year at least? Chew on it for a while until then. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment and we'll move on to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine and include a recommended action from staff and shall be acted on in one motion of the council. If a council member requests additional information or would like to pull an item for discussion, that item shall be pulled from the consent calendar and acted on separately. A motion to approve the consent calendar is deemed to include a motion to waive the full reading of any ordinance or resolution on the consent calendar. Tonight, we have items 1 and 2. Would any council member like to pull an item to be discussed? Would any staff or member of the public like to pull an item to be discussed? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is our regular calendar, and the first item is the financial statements for the year ended June 30th, 2025. Consider statements as prepared by Price Page and Company. Staff report prepared by Finance Director Alma Collado.
Mayor Smith and City Council, the city's financial statements for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2025 have been audited by an independent accounting firm. An unqualified opinion, which means clean opinion, has been issued, indicating that the financial statements present a fair and accurate view of the city's financial position. I'm gonna go over some key highlights for the major funds. The general fund expenditures exceeded revenues by $614,000, excluding the interfund transfers, primarily due to increases in salaries, benefits, and capital outlay. Measure E fund expenditures exceeded revenues by $97,000 due to a decrease in revenues from taxes. The ambulance fire fund experienced an operating deficit of $2.7 million, which was offset through interfund transfers and grant funding, mainly the IGT, the Federal Intergovernmental Transfer, which provides gap funding for ambulance transports where we are unable to collect the total cost via insurance. The water fund reported an operating deficit of 1 million, which is mostly due to a decrease in revenue from charges for services. To address this, the city implemented a water rate increase in this proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget with planned annual adjustments over the next 5 years. And the disposal fund, revenues exceeded expenditures by 7,400. This is a tribute to a revised rate implemented that is bringing the fund back into balance. Included in your packet is a 5-year fund comparison of revenues and expenditures to provide a long-term financial summary and fund performance trends. The recommended item tonight by City Council is to accept the financial statements for the year ending June 30, 2025, and Anthony Gonzalez from Price Page and Company will not present the audited financial statements.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council members. My name is Anthony Gonzalez. I'm an audit manager with Price Page and Company. Tonight, I have the pleasure to present the 2025 audit to you all. We do have some slides here. I'm going to be assisted by you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So my agenda for tonight is to talk a little bit about who we are at Price Page and Company and what we do. I'll talk about our audit scope and what that process looks like. I'll touch on the areas of audit emphasis, and then of course, finish up with our auditor's reports and any required communications. Okay, a little bit about us, Price Page and Company. We were founded in 1976 and we're celebrating 50 years this year, serving clients in the Central Valley. Very excited about that. We're a top 10 firm in the Central Valley. We have a deep specialization in serving governments. Right now we have about 120 audits of municipalities, special districts, as well as nonprofits, and we have about 70 employees, including 25 CPAs. Specific to the 2025 City of Kingsburg audit, the engagement team consisted of Fausto Hinojosa. He was the engagement partner signing the reports. He's also our managing partner. I served as the engagement manager, supervising our team. We had 3 additional professional team members, as well as our administrative support staff. Combined, we have over 50 years of experience. It's probably a little higher than that, but didn't want to age ourselves. Oops. I think we're down at like page 168. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So talk a little bit about the scope of the audit. So we were engaged by the city to perform an audit of the financial statements, and that is in accordance with applicable standards. So the standards that we followed were the generally accepted audit standards promulgated by the AICPA, as well as government audit standards. So because the city is a municipality and has different grants from federal sources, we ensure that we complete our audit in accordance with those standards. It doesn't actually say that a city is required to be audited under these, but we do it as kind of a safe measure. That audit, actually, I'm sorry. So we perform what's called a risk-based audit, and it is designed to provide reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatement. So that's a fancy way of saying we don't look at everything. We test what we think is most likely to be misstated. So we focus our efforts on those areas, and we look for misstatements when compared to GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. That's promulgated by GASB. So that's who issues GAAP for governments. Next slide, please. So the audit process starts with us obtaining an understanding of the city's fiscal operations. We do that first just by looking at what kind of transactions the city's entered into. What kind of balances does the city have? Investments, cash, those types of things. Are they simple or are they relatively complex? That's what we call inherent risk. So we gain that understanding. And then we also look at the city's internal controls. So what processes does the city have to reconcile bank accounts, to put together capital asset schedules? When we look at that, we're looking for 2 things. Are those controls effectively designed, meaning will they meet their goal if operating effectively? And were they actually placed into operation? Okay, so we're not testing the city's internal controls to report on if they're operating effectively. It's designed to assist us with our risk assessment process. Once we've done that, we develop our audit procedures to address those risks. And then, of course, we perform those audit procedures and then issue our report based on the evidence obtained. Next slide, please. So this year, some of the areas that we focused on included cash and investments. The city's investments are not overly complex, but just due to the significant nature of those balances, we're always going to be interested. We also took a look at the city's revenues and receivables. This includes the utility billings, accounts receivable at year end, collectability of those receivables. We looked at the city's expenses, including payroll and related costs, also considered compliance with grants. So while the city didn't have a federal audit this year for the federal awards, we still consider compliance that could have a material effect on the city's financial statements. We also look at capital assets, fund balance classifications, including reserve policy review, net pension liability, which is the city's estimate for what is going to be paid out to retiring employees. Very large liability, so we're interested in that. And then new this year, I mentioned GASB previously, a new standard, GASB 101, related to compensated absences. So this changes the way that cities are required to recognize a liability in relation to paid time off. Okay, so that changed that reporting this year. So we took a look at that as well. Next slide, please. Okay, now I'll move into the auditor's reports that we issued as part of our audit. We actually issued 2 different reports, one with an opinion, one without. So I'll move into the next slide, and that'll talk about the independent auditor's report. This is actually included in the financial statements, and this is what you pay us for, essentially. So this is our report describing whether or not the financial statements present fairly in all material respects. So I'm pleased to report that the city did receive an unmodified opinion, or what's called a clean opinion. And that tells users a few things, but the most important is that third bullet point there, that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. It also tells users that the audit was performed in accordance with applicable standards, and that significant accounting policies have been consistently applied, estimates included within are reasonable, and the disclosures that follow the financial statements are properly reflected. Okay, the next report I'll talk about is the Government Audit Standards Report. So because we completed our audit in accordance with those standards, we issue this report. There's no opinion, but what it does is describe any deficiencies that we identified as part of our audit testing. Okay, so we did identify 4 deficiencies in internal controls, and I've summarized them here. The full detail of these findings is actually attached to this report. And so within that, we include the condition, the cause, the effect, and then also management's response to that. So to quickly touch on those, we identified misclassified transfers. So transfers between one city fund to another. On one side, it was reported as a transfer. The other side was reported as like an operating expense. So those wouldn't balance. The next finding that we reported in this report was the reserve policy surplus. So we identified that the calculation was done differently than what we think the language in the policy intends. And then the next finding is related to the allowance for doubtful accounts. So this is what is owed to the city at year end. Specific to the ambulance fund, the report that is provided from Sharp, the third party, didn't list the allowance, and so that was booked kind of improperly. And then lastly, we identified through the review of minutes a contributed capital from a developer that was not reported by the city, along with an oversize agreement for that liability. So that's a summary of the 4 findings, and again, those were reported in the Government Audit Standards Report. This report will also talk about any deficiencies related to compliance that affect the financial statements, and we have nothing to report there. And then now I'm going to finish up with what's called the required communication. This is summarized in a letter to council. It's called the Audit Communication Letter, and it summarizes a few things, but I just want to touch on a few of them. So as previously mentioned, GASB 101, this is a new accounting policy, and it was implemented this year. The significant estimates included in your financial statements are the net pension liability as well as the allowance for doubtful accounts. The reason that we draw attention to those is because they're an estimate. It's not a hard number. It's not like a bank statement where you can point to that number. It's management's best guess as to what this number should be. So that's why we draw attention to that. And then also sensitive disclosures. The most sensitive disclosure that we've identified is the deficit fund balance. So any operating funds that are operating at a deficit. Okay. And then lastly, we did not encounter any difficulties performing the audit. The significant audit adjustments that were corrected as part of our audit are included with this letter. We did not have any disagreements with management, and we're not aware of any fraud or illegal acts. So with that, that concludes my presentation, but if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to do my best to address those.
Thank you. Quick question on the internal controls items that were noted. Have we come up with a plan to address those?
Yes. There, out of those 4 items, I would say 2 were one time during the fiscal year that we did a transfer to fund the fire truck, and we that was the finding for the item number 1. And it won't happen again, but from now on, we're gonna establish a form to prevent that situation in the future. And then for the, we have a process in place also with the developers when we have an agreement where the city is going to reimburse them for like a park or any infrastructure that we are going to be in communication, so we include them in the capital assets. And we have a plan in place for SHARP to include the allowance for doubtful accounts every end of the year. And we'll have a process where we'll visit it in a quarterly basis and to prevent that issue again, but is mainly because SHARP AR balance is not including the write-offs that they know they're not gonna collect through some insurance. And so we just need to be in communication with SHARP and knowing the percentage so we can affect our financials. And the last item, I believe it was Anthony.
The reserve policy.
Oh, yes, we will revisit that with the finance committee to have clarification on the methodology so we can interpret it consistently from staff with audit.
Very good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the work you guys do. I know it's, it's a lot. I get to deal with audit, so.
Yes, very fun. I thought everybody was here for my presentation.
Well, I enjoyed it.
Thank you, I
So,
appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to open it up for council discussion. Nope. Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? And we'll bring it back for council discussion. Any questions? No?
Just more of a quick statement, Mayor Smith. This is actually why I like these audits, is because it's full transparency. You do find sometimes there are anomalies just based on how the city's evolving and agreements that they get into. Appreciate that you found these, and then you create an SOP to a standard operating procedure to try to fix it, or a policy to fix it. So appreciate all the work that you did, and I'm assuming that staff was easy to work with and was fully cooperative. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, thank you for everybody's time and effort working on that. Nothing further.
Thank you. Okay, well, No, Alma, thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of time goes into this, and thank you to you and your team. You guys do a great job. Okay, so the possible action here is to accept the financial statements for the year ending June 30th, 2025. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the status of the City of Kingsburg's vacancy and recruitment and retention efforts in calendar year 2025. Staff report by Assistant City Manager Christina Windover.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. Thank you for having me tonight. I am presenting on the status of vacancies for city positions and also our retention efforts for calendar year 2025. AB 2561 requires public agencies to hold at least one public hearing per fiscal year to discuss our vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts. Our first report was in March of 2025. So this report covers all of the calendar year 2025. We maintained 57 authorized full-time positions within our 3 bargaining units. So we have the Kingsburg Public Service Association, the Kingsburg Police Officers Association, and the Kingsburg Professional Firefighters Associations. We experienced consistently low vacancy rates throughout the year. A total of 11 vacancies were created during the year within those 3 bargaining units, and 10 of those were filled by the year end. And then the remaining vacancy was filled at the beginning of 2026. The annual staffing turnover rate was 19%. However, that does include internal movement and promotions. The city's average time to fill vacancies was 33 calendar days, with internal recruitments completed more quickly than external recruitments. And while the city faces challenges in attracting qualified candidates on occasion and navigating pre-employment requirements, staff has taken steps to clarify job descriptions. We've updated testing standards, and we've streamlined hiring processes. So no bargaining unit exceeded the 20% vacancy rate, and overall staffing levels remained stable throughout the year. In compliance with the legal obligations set forth in AB 2561, the City of Kingsburg is required to hold a public hearing once per fiscal year. And that presentation has to occur before we pass our annual budget. And that's the reason for our timing of this presentation. The city also is required to notify each of the bargaining units and let them know that we are presenting on our vacancies and offer them the opportunity to make a presentation and speak to council themselves. I did reach out to all 3 presidents of our bargaining associations, and none of them had a desire to come and speak with council tonight regarding this topic. And for agencies that do have excessive vacancy rates, there are some additional reporting requirements. However, we did not actually trigger that 20% vacancy rate in any of our associations. So I will be just giving what is compliant with the under 20%. So I do have a presentation. You can go through. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Abigail. So today's agenda includes our workforce information, our vacancy information, recruitment information, hiring issues, and retention information. Bargaining unit specific information also includes a breakdown of each of those issues. So within our three associations, the Police Officers Association, Professional Firefighters Association, and the Public Service Employees Association, which is Public Works and some of the staff here at City Hall, we had 57 budgeted positions for the fiscal year. This slide is a little hard to read, but essentially it is a breakdown of all of our vacancies per month. The average number of vacancies at the end of each month was 3.4%. The highest number of percentage of vacancies at the end of any given month was 5%, and the lowest percentage of vacancies at any given month was 0. This slide just has some definitions of what we'll go over during my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions if any come up. So for our recruitment statistics, the total number of vacancies filled during 2025 was 11 vacancies within those three bargaining units. The number of vacancies filled by existing eligibility lists or ongoing recruitments was 0. The average number of calendar days to fill a vacancy was 33 days. And the number of vacancies filled by external recruitment efforts was 5. The average number of calendar days to fill those vacancies was 51 days, and the number of vacancies filled by internal recruitments was 6 vacancies, and the average number of calendar days to move someone internally was 19 days. Any hiring issues that we've identified throughout the process are outlined here, but they are potentially hypothetical as well. Potential obstacles could include finding qualified candidates. Oftentimes we have candidates who fail pre-employment examinations or other processes. And keeping candidates interested in the position being offered. Sometimes candidates will have multiple offers at any given time and are testing in multiple agencies, particularly in the public safety groups. Kingsburg will make the following changes to address these obstacles. We actively seek to clarify any job descriptions and make sure any job responsibilities are up to date. We also make sure our tests are up to date with current best practices and industry standards. And we strive to make sure our pre-employment process is clear. There are issues we are unable to address as staff, including the candidate pool. Pre-employment processes are dependent on candidate scheduling, so that can prolong the hiring process. And then, of course, we are subject to defined compensation and benefits per the MOUs. And my point there is just that there's not necessarily a lot of room for negotiation with our offer letters. Our retention statistics. Thank you. The total number of vacancies created during 2025 was 11. None of those vacancies were created due to new positions with the fiscal year. So therefore our staffing growth was 0%. The number of vacancies created by internal promotion was 6. And so the percent of vacancies resulting in internal opportunity was 55%. For our retention statistics, Again, we had 11 vacancies. One of those was created by a retirement. The 2 vacancies were created by involuntary separation, and 5 vacancies were created by voluntary separation. So the percent of vacancies resulting from turnover, including all internal promotions, transfers, new hires, eligibility lists, etc., was 19%. And that's of that 57 budgeted positions. There are other positions that are accounted for in this presentation. And then our annual staffing turnover rate resulting from retirement, voluntary and involuntary separations, excluding any internal transfers and promotions, was 12%. This chart shows a breakdown of our 3 bargaining units and the number of vacancies in each unit. AB 2561 requires us to report on the number of vacancies, and the legislation only is kind of vague. So we've used a point in time reporting method. So the date we chose was December 31st, 2025. We had 0 vacancies in the Kingsburg Police Department out of a total of 25 budgeted full-time employees. In the Kingsburg Professional Firefighters Association, there were 0 vacancies out of 18 budgeted positions. And then there was 1 open position in the Kingsburg Public Service Employee Association bargaining unit. And that one was actually in the process of being filled through internal promotion and an external recruitment. So that concludes my presentation for you tonight, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. I'll open it up for council discussion. Is there any public comment on this item? Any additional council discussion? No. Very good. Thank you very much for that. There is no action on this. Staff recommends that we receive and file the 2025 vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts. Okay. The next item is the 25-26 capital improvement update and fiscal year 27 introduction. Staff report by City Manager Alexander Henderson.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. We are already have started, staff has already started our preparation for the fiscal year 2027 budget process. It kind of feels like we have 2 seasons. One season is audit season and the other season is budget season. And so you just heard the audit report, and now we're in full swing preparing for the upcoming budget. So tonight I'm here to talk a little bit about the ongoing, the current year capital improvement projects that were approved as part of last year's or the current year budget. But then it also serves as an informal introduction to our capital project selection process that's been approved by council, which is included in your packet this evening. It's sort of our kickoff as we begin the preparation for the coming year. And council members and certainly members of the public are welcome to reach out with regards to projects for the upcoming year. But I will start just by giving a couple of brief updates. And I know the next item as well, I know Dave Peters will probably have a couple of these, so I'll try not to touch on the same ones. But Abby, if you could just go to the spreadsheet for the current year updates. Yep, just try and that a little bit larger, mainly to just the projects in the middle. And I'll just go over a few of them. We are pretty far along, roughly 90% with our space needs assessment, and then a site plan review for the new City Hall facility. That's been discussed by the Finance Committee several times, and we're currently in the process of working with California iBank to examine financing options. And so that will be the next step of that process for the Finance Committee, and then ultimately the City Council to review. A couple of ongoing programs that we have are our facade and alley improvement programs. We've had a couple of projects completed in this current year for the grants. One of them is Los Pepes. Their facade was completed during this fiscal year. The forgivable loan program, we do anticipate Deli Casa's ongoing sort of tenant improvement over there to qualify, as they're were required to put in sprinklers as part of their update. So we're anticipating an application will come there, although I do expect that will probably end up moving over into the next fiscal year. Council's aware that we completed our general plan update, just recently approved by council. Couple of engineering projects that are currently in the design phase. The main one being the roundabout at Gilroy, Mariposa, and 18th Avenue. That's in the design phase right now. It's a part of a air quality grant. And we're expecting that construction would begin on that in the summer of 2028. So still a little ways out with regards to construction, but we are working on design right now. Our 2025 street projects program are all completed on time and within budget. As part, those are projects that we complete every summer, and so now we're working on design costs and preparation for bidding for the upcoming summer projects as well. Adam and Community Services are in the middle of working on their Parks Master Plan update and in partnership with Fresno State. And then obviously we've been working on our Measure renewal effort over the last several months, and we'll move into the cost for that will be related to election costs later this year for the June 2nd election. That's just a quick highlight and overview. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about any of the projects for fiscal year 2026.
Thank you. That's off. Thank you. Is there any council discussion? Is there any public comment on this item? Nope. I'll bring it back to council. No. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that information. It's very it's exciting to move into budgeting time. So our next item is the city engineer's update. Report by city engineer Dave Peters.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I'm sure you had a chance to review my report in your agenda, so I'll just kind of go over some highlights. In terms of capital improvement projects, we're actually beginning the Smith Street parking lot improvements, which is just right across down the street from City Hall. We're going to rehab the city parking lot, and then it's going to get retrofitted with solar equipment and charging stations. So that's a joint project that's happening with Fresno County Rural Transit Authority. As Alex mentioned, we're working on our annual streets project. So there's several streets throughout the city that will be repaved this summer. You'll get a lot more information in the coming months on the 18th and Gilroy roundabout. Make sure you guys are involved in the design as that develops. We are taking out the in-pavement lights at 3 of our high visibility crosswalks. So Rayford Johnson Drive and Sierra, 10th and Union, and 18th and Kern. So that the in-pavement lights, we've had trouble with them working properly. So they're going to be removed and replaced with rectangular rapid flashing beacons like what you see on Sierra Street. We'll be reconstructing Sierra Street from Rayford to Bethel. So that's in the design phase. With the construction happening in the summer of 2027, so a year from now. We're also working on 2 other alleys in the Carlson Addition area. So that's the neighborhoods directly south of the high school. So we did the 20th, 21st alley from Sierra to Mariposa just a couple months ago. And so we're working on the 18th, 19th, and the 19th, 20th. So that whole neighborhood will have the north-south alleys reconstructed. We expect the construction to be in 2029. So some of these projects are out a few years because they're federally funded, and that's just kind of how they're programmed. Next meeting, I'll have some more information on this for you, but we've working on a project to repaint portions of the water tower. So essentially the non-white portions that have faded. So we'll have something for you in your next meeting on that. And then an update on the Golden State Corridor project. that's being done by Fresno County Transportation Authority. They finished phases 1 and 2, which were essentially paving the main line and then some of the intersections that didn't require railroad involvement. And so phase 3 is doing the intersections that require railroad involvement. The two big ones for us is signalization of Cam Bethel and Golden State or Simpson. And the other one is the realignment of Stroud at Golden State. So those are big projects that we're hoping maybe within a year and a half from now, we'll actually be able to construct. But that I'm not working on that personally. I'm just kind of supporting the COG and their consultant, but they're trying to get railroad permits on that project. But it is still happening, and I hope to see it get completed. In terms of some of our development projects that are out there, there's 3 gas stations in various phases of construction. Quick Corners, I think, almost done. The Rayford Johnson Drive, Sierra Street gas station, after kind of a long time of inactivity, is starting to approach completion. And then Sinclair has permits, but they haven't started work on that yet. So 3 gas station projects that are in process. Swedish Mill has their permit, so we're hoping to see some action on that pretty soon. And then we have a couple of subdivisions that are happening in the north part of town. Kings Estates Phase 5, which is just north of Cam on 18th, and then the Crown subdivision, which is on Cam west of 10th. And then lastly, we're gearing up to prepare an ATP application, and we'll bring that back before you for review before we complete that application with the proposed project. So happy to answer any questions.
Good, thank you. Is there any council discussion or questions on this item?
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
On the roundabout and the construction also on 10th in front of Roosevelt Elementary.
Okay.
So both of those say summer of 2028.
Right.
Can we make sure that we really stick to the summer? I know it's
Sorry.
federal funding, but can we make sure that we stick to the summer?
Yeah.
Because of impacting both of those schools. We do use those schools for summer school, but this far out, we can definitely plan around it, but I know it would impact the regular school year greatly. So is that purposefully that you put it?
Yeah,
for
that's
summer?
the idea, is to try to
Okay.
get it done when school's out. So
It'll be a nightmare if it's not.
yeah, and you'll see a lot on both of those projects before they go to construction. So
Thank you.
Mr. Peters, I had a
Mhm.
quick question on the
Sure.
Golden State Corridor in Phase
Yeah.
3. Is that going to be a complete intersection closure for both the CAM corridor and the Stroud corridor? Will they completely close the intersection? Both both going both ways, or will there still be
yeah,
pass-through for
so
people?
the Stroud one might be a little bit more complicated. There might be some partial closures of that because we're realigning it from kind of the acute angle that it has
Right.
now to a 90 degree. So
Okay.
it's getting moved about 150 feet south of where it's at now. So there could be some short-term closures. The other one, I believe that the intent is to maintain traffic. So
Okay.
there'll be some traffic control that you'll have to deal with, but yeah.
Okay.
That's all. You have a question, excuse me. Cemetery, administration building at the
Yeah.
Kingsburg Cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening with that?
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah,
with that?
so we, a couple of weeks ago, excuse me, we did a site plan review for a new administration building on the north side of the cemetery. So they're proposing to build a new admin building up just north of where the northern part of the actual cemetery is now. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, great. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I think it involves some zoning issues, so you might see that again before it's all said and done.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Couple quick questions. The Smith Street parking lot, the solar in there.
Yeah.
Is that for the charging stations or is there going to be a lot of charging stations? Will that cut back on the
Yeah,
parking?
so that's,
cap?
yeah, that's kind of the FCRTA's portion of it. We're not really doing the design. We're helping out with the design of the parking lot improvements. But I believe there's 3 or 4 charging stations. And I think one of them they're gonna try to reserve for like city use, but yeah.
Yeah, that's just from the FCRTA standpoint.
Mhm.
There is gonna be charging. I can't remember what phase chargers it's gonna be. It's not gonna be the fastest one, but it's not the slowest one.
Yeah.
I think they are gonna try and carve out one specific one more for like the kind of government use.
Yeah.
The city's involvement really is, we're just kind of not having to pay for the parking lot getting redone. That's kind of where we're getting out of it. And there's gonna be covered parking and it's gonna have solar panels on it. So I can't remember how much the total give was for that, but I think it was over $1 million.
It was, yeah, just under, I believe was the
Yeah.
grant, just under, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one comment on the roundabout on 18th.
Okay.
I've heard from a few people. Dinuba recently put in a roundabout by the high school. Can we definitely just check it out at 8 in the morning, just to make sure we learn from
The Dinuba one?
the Dinuba,
Okay,
just so that we make sure we can address some of the issues that they might be
Sure.
frustrated with.
Sure.
And then my last question would be on Golden State. Do we really think that's gonna get, okay, never mind. Hopefully that
Yeah, I
gets
mean, they're
done.
moving forward with it. I've been in
Okay.
meetings very recently on it, so I mean, it's all contingent upon getting a permit from the railroad. But yeah, I think it's moving forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
nope. Very good. Is there any public comment on any of these items or questions? Nope, okay.
I have a quick comment,
Of course.
on the alley for the Morganton and Mellor
Yeah.
streets, the homes. That's a good, the residents are very happy.
Okay, good.
That alley that,
All right, good.
finally got put in after all these years. I know when I first came on council 7 years ago, I had people emailing me right away about, hey, can we get an alley put here
Yeah.
behind, there was some Morganton residents were asking for that. So it looks good. They
All right,
did
great.
a good job. So
Happy.
thank you.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, thank you for the update. Any other questions? Very good. So this was informational. There's no action necessary. So I will move on, and for a future agenda items, we have nothing listed. So we'll move to the city manager's report.
A couple of quick items. Staff is working with Townsend Public Affairs. It's kind of, from the federal perspective, the time of the year that they start asking for earmark requests. So we still have a couple of earmarks that we cycled through last time that we're working with them on, kind of working with the elected officials. Some of them have preferences on items that they want to support. So we're trying to match those asks. A lot of them related to public safety, but then also water recharge. Congressman Costa's office is interested in that. So we're working on a couple of those items. And then with regards to Measure E, the letter assignment from the county should be out next week, I believe on Monday. So I looked at the county's website right now. There's only one measure in the whole county for June 2nd, and that's ours. So the actual deadline for filing is actually March 6th. So if there are other jurisdictions that are thinking about it, they have a couple more days, but otherwise, hopefully, we'll be successful with our letter request. So that's all I have.
Alex, real quick, on the earmarks, did we get all the pushed updates from them?
Yes.
So the way it normally works, we usually have a little bit more time. They kind of last minute through it at the very end. Is Townsend seeming like they're still gonna be able to get them in on time?
Yeah, so a couple of them, Mayor Smith signed already, and we've gotten to them, and there's one, actually Congressman Costa's office came back because they can accept up to 20 and they hadn't received 20 requests. And so they asked us for more. So we're happy to accommodate that. And so we'll have everything by the end of this week. Tell him if he wants more requests.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said too.
We'll give them to him and maybe don't move it up 3 weeks without telling anybody. Be a little easier too.
That might be why they haven't had as many requests.
Very good, thank you. We'll move on to council reports and communications. We'll start with Councilmember Silva.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Few things, the Economic Development Committee did meet last week. One notable item, we're looking at refreshing the architectural design policy and standard guidelines for the Swedish Village. It was with the development of new buildings, there seems to be sometimes a little bit of a back and forth on what actually makes up the Swedish design and what doesn't. So for clarity purposes, I think the Economic Development Committee was overwhelmingly in support of trying to help with that, updating that standard of the Swedish Village and potentially making the process easier, streamlining the process for people, new builders that come into the community. So with that, Dave mentioned quite a bit of the, the construction going on with the gas stations and the Swedish Mill. So that suffices for that. On Car Show Committee did meet last week. I wasn't able to attend that, but I know they're still looking, they're still looking for sponsors. So if anybody knows of someone that wants to sponsor and get their logo out there and their name recognition, it's going to be a great event that there'll be a lot of people. Did change the t-shirt design, so we're really excited. The whole committee's really excited about the t-shirt design this year, so hopefully everyone will enjoy that as well when it comes out. And then the South Kings GSA is set to meet on Wednesday of next week. And with that concludes my report. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember North.
Good evening. Few updates. Centerpoint, which was called 5 Cities, was supposed to meet tomorrow. It has been canceled for a second time due to lack of quorum, and we were supposed to host. SKF, we will meet on the 12th next week. The Chamber, we will meet next Tuesday. And the Chamber in the Chamber of Commerce building. I was going to say Chamber. And a few updates from them. On the 24th is the annual dinner. Margaret Mims is the keynote, and the State of the City will be given by Mayor Smith. Tickets will be on their website tomorrow. You can purchase them online, or you can go into the chamber and you can purchase them. They are still looking for nominations that you can submit online or by email to the director, Lauren Nickel. The key ones that they still need are for Citizen of the Year, Junior Citizen of the Year, Business of the Year, and Ag Business of the Year. And coming up, the chamber has 3 open seats. They currently have 5 applicants. The ballots are going to be sent out to chamber members next week. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Palomar.
Okay, public safety, we have not met since our last meeting. Planning Commission, we're scheduled to meet March 16th. Community Service Commission, we're planning to meet on March 25th. And the only thing I have is the high school wrestling state tournament was this past weekend. And we qualified 5 wrestlers for the state tournament. Carlos Melgoza, who was last year, he was a state placer, but California's hard to play, and he didn't place this year. He was 1 match away from placing. Also, we took Paxton Palomar qualified for state. Jonathan Muxlow, Fisher Amabiska, and Emilio Ayala, who has only been wrestling for 4 years, and he placed 7th in the state this year for Kingsburg. And that's like unheard of for somebody to wrestle for 4 years. But he's just such a great athlete and hard worker that he was able to win him a state medal. So kudos to Emilio Ayala, and that is our 6th state medal in the last 3 years, bringing home from the state wrestling tournament, which is a new record. When I was an assistant coach in the 90s, the mid late 90s, we brought home 5 in 3 years. but now we brought home 6 in 3 years, so it's a new record. So wrestling's doing pretty good right now. So we'll see. Hopefully we can keep it going because we're losing some of our horses. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Purcell.
COG, we've met, it's kind of business as usual. The big thing with that is still Measure C. So Measure C, official Measure C is not going to be moving forward on the ballot. There's going to be 2 citizens initiatives that are currently in the signature gathering phase. Slight differences between the 2. I think one of them probably has a little bit more steam going than the other. I've been reached out to by both. They're both seeking endorsements, and they are both interested in having conversations with council. So I wouldn't be surprised if they reach out to you guys at some point. After some conversations with Mayor Smith, one group has reached out to present to council. I know the other group is going to want to at some point. What we had originally thought about doing was hosting a workshop and inviting both. Outside, we'll agendize it. We'll do it officially however we have to, so we can ask questions, but a real opportunity for the citizens to ask true questions between the 2 of them to get kind of an apples to apples comparison. One group was not interested in that yet. And I think for a good reason. They said that until both measures qualify, they don't see the reason to argue with another group, which I do understand. I think that our stance at this point is we're probably going to go ahead and hold off on having either one of them come present their measures until after they've got qualified, so that we aren't spending a bunch of time on something that may never make it to the ballot. So just so you guys know, that's kind of the stance right now. Obviously open for discussion at any point if you guys like to talk about it, but that's kind of the status of those. That there's two competing measures, and they're doing active campaigning. So don't be surprised if you guys hear from them. They're both good groups to talk to. Just a little different philosophies on how they want to spend that money. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. The Finance Committee hasn't met. Our next meeting is going to be March 23rd, and BID did meet, and we received an update. They're moving forward with the micro grant for the Swedish phone booth, so we should be seeing that, and that'll be exciting to get one of those done. They are having a spring stroll. It's a Shakespearean theme, and it sounds like a lot of fun. It'll be on Thursday, April 23rd. Come to town, go out to dinner, shop the shops. They'll be open. The trolley will be out. And again, that's on April 23rd. And then Casey Hansen came and introduced herself, and she's the one that's opening up at Morgan's. It's a vintage shop. They're doing a soft opening this Saturday. It'll be home goods, vintage, antique, and repurposed. And then the only other item is the ribbon cutting for in penny shop across the street. So if you guys can make it, that's on Friday at 10. And that's all I have. So if there isn't anything else, we'll go ahead and adjourn the